I don't think that people realize how bad this hardware situation is about to get, because we're not just talking about RAM and SSD getting a little bit more expensive. We are talking about price hikes so big that gaming PCs, consoles, and games themselves all could get hit at the same time. Xbox is already raising prices, Sony's next-gen console is reportedly looking more expensive every day, and the worst part that this might only be the beginning. So yeah, if you thought that gaming was already too expensive, it looks like 2026 and 2027 about to make things a lot worse. The hardware situation is not getting any better, and according to Jefferies Equity Research, it's about to get a whole lot worse. According to their recent report, we might be getting a new price surge very soon. They're expecting prices to jump 40 to 50% during Q3 2026, then another price hike during Q4 2026 of about 30 to 40%. And if that wasn't enough, they're also expecting 40 to 45% increase year over year in 2027. So yeah, that's not exactly comforting. There is still hope though, because they're also expecting that the demand might be slowing down by 2028 and the new capacity might come online. But before that happens, we are in a very scary situation, because we are entering a period of time where a lot of demanding games are on the horizon. Stuff that needs very good hardware to run properly, like AAA titles, high-end PC games, console exclusives, all that stuff. And I don't know if you've looked at the hardware prices recently, but they are disgusting. Like, absolutely horrible. And the most frustrating part is that manufacturers just keep raising them. Even those who told us a few months ago that there is nothing to worry about, they're not going to do anything, and everything will just stay as it is, and this hardware crisis is not going to affect anything. Well, I mean, look at the prices now. And video game companies should be concerned about this, because guess what? If people can't get their hands on the hardware they need to actually run those games and run them well, they're just not going to buy them. All those upcoming games like GTA 6, Fable, Marvel's Wolverine, if fewer people buy them, the companies will suffer. And by extension, the developers will suffer, because guess what? Poor sales performance usually leads to mass layoffs, studio closures, project cancellations, and a lot of other unpleasant stuff. And all that is because of AI. Honestly, if somebody had asked me a few years ago about the ramifications of AI, the impact it's having on game prices is probably one of the last thing I would consider. But apparently, here we are. I mean, go figure, right? And speaking of hardware, Xbox recently decided to up their prices for their consoles because of all the storage and memory costs. According to the official announcement, all the Xbox console prices are going up on August 1st, 2026 worldwide. The 512GB models are going up by $100, the 1TB models are going up by $150, and the 2TB models are being sunset completely. The company basically provided the same reason. The prices are already up by more than 250%, and they're also expecting them to double once again by fall 2027. So yeah, the Xbox prices are not going down anytime soon. I mean, if ever. Also, Xbox very graciously decided to point out all the ways how you can buy a console cheaper, like buying a refurbished one, or buying now and paying later, and all the other payment options. And also pointing out that Xbox Series S still remains a viable option and the cheapest one available. And it could still run games like GTA 6, Modern Warfare 4, and all the rest of the upcoming lineup. And all that is great, but it's not getting this situation any better. And on top of all that, Microsoft might not be the only company whose console might end up costing an arm and a leg. As recent leaks suggest that Sony's next-gen console already costs staggering $960 just in materials alone. And that's crazy. For comparison, the initial cost of PS5 Pro was $700. I mean, of course it already climbed to $900 recently, but you get my point. So at this point, I'm even afraid to speculate how much a PS6 Pro is going to cost. And we're not even talking about the cost of hardware for PC gamers, or the fact that Nintendo has been raising their prices, even though they were saying that they were not going to. Honestly, I don't even know how any of these companies could win when it comes to conventional sales because of prices being what they are. I mean, Microsoft mentioned themselves that consoles usually sell below cost, and then manufacturers make up the cost with exclusives, with cloud access, with subscriptions, and all that good stuff. But now, no matter how you slice it, if those companies are not willing to take an even bigger loss, I have no idea how they're expecting people to afford them. And the console sales are already suffering across the board, even with the prices being not as high as they're expected to be. So it looks like the time when you could actually have multiple consoles and enjoy all the exclusives across the board is slowly coming to an end. I mean, unless of course you're not a millionaire. And speaking of projects that are unlikely to happen, it looks like all those few people who are still waiting for Resident Evil 5 and 6 remakes are just out of luck. According to a notable Capcom leaker, it looks like the company has no idea what to do with those games. At least according to him, the company doesn't seem to have some sort of a big master plan, so right now they're just not that interested in remaking those. Based on what they're saying, Capcom tends to think at least 5 years in advance and then reassess every few years about the direction the franchise is taking. So if you are hoping about some sort of a prequel setup with these games to Resident Evil Requiem, or some sort of a big plan from Capcom to re-release all the Resident Evil games, it looks like it's just not the case. But their sales records are surprisingly solid. I mean, both games managed to surpass 10 million copies sold, and for reference, it puts them right behind Devil May Cry 5, which is more than impressive. So while those games might not be universally loved by all Resident Evil fans, I mean, there is a business case to be made here. And personally, I kind of love those games. I love them even more than the whole horror direction the most recent games have been taking. On the other hand though, with the release of Requiem and a broader kind of restart of the franchise, it's fair to say that Capcom doesn't really need those remakes anymore. Sure, those remakes could give the company a nice revenue boost before the next mainline Resident Evil game is in development, but with Resident Evil 0 and Code Veronica already scheduled to be released, maybe Capcom doesn't need any more remakes after all. My best guess is that if there is even a slight chance of Resident Evil 5 and 6 being remade, we probably have to wait at least till the next mainline Resident Evil game is released. And that's probably not going to happen for the next 5 years. I mean, we all know that publishers go back on their decisions all the time, right? So maybe in 5 years things will be different, who knows? In general, the pressure inside Xbox is just enormous right now, especially when it comes to game development. And people are already terrified about this whole portfolio review. So much so that the unionized portion of employees, at least in the US, already reached out to Communications Workers of America Union to start negotiating with Xbox before the axe actually falls. And according to Microsoft's spokesperson, they have a long track record of negotiating with labor organizations, so they're committed to negotiating in good faith with CWA until they reach an agreement across the entire Xbox. And it's all well and good, but it's still unclear how this union is supposed to have any impact on any of the upcoming layoffs. I mean, with so many studios under its wing, Xbox has been a pillar of Western game development for years. But after all these acquisitions and failed projects, that might not be the case anymore. Because with every layoff, a huge chunk of knowledge is lost. And it's not like this knowledge could be transferred automatically to a different team, right? It's not like you can fire a bunch of experienced people, then shuffle everybody around and expect the same creative and production knowledge to just magically stay inside the company. And it's not like it's the first round of layoffs at the company. I mean, it's not even the 10th. So while canceling a bunch of underperforming titles is completely understandable and also normal in game development, firing a lot of people with years of knowledge and franchise experience could really end up biting them in the long run. The only silver lining is that people who are at least part of the union might expect some sort of compensation or some sort of a fair agreement, which sadly is already a lot more than the majority of people in the industry could expect under those circumstances. While the revenue of Xbox is going down, Microsoft's revenue, on the other hand, is going up with all the investments in AI and cloud technology. So with the upcoming layoffs, studio closures, and project cancellations, it's worth asking a pretty obvious question. Is Microsoft going to reduce the amount of money it's spending on video games? And apparently the answer is surprisingly no. According to Insider Gaming, after the information about the upcoming mass layoffs and project cancellations reached media, especially after the information that Xbox decided to cancel their publishing agreement with IO Interactive over Project Fantasy, the company wanted to reassure everyone that they're not going to spend less money on games. The company is saying that they're planning to invest just as much. They're just going to be a little bit more selective over which projects actually get the funding. And actually we've already heard some of that a few weeks ago from the Xbox CEO Asha Sharma. There was this big conversation about Fallout 5 and how she was saying that they're going to supercharge a bunch of the franchises, specifically the Fallout, the Elder Scrolls, and Halo. But I mean, who knew that the true meaning is going to be these mass layoffs? Of course, so far it's all just a speculation because we still don't know exactly how Microsoft is going to refocus their investment. But we do know that at least 5 studios are in danger right now, which are Double Fine, Compulsion Games, Ninja Theory, Arcane, and maybe even Undead Labs. But I still have one big question. I mean, how come nobody thinks about the long-term ramifications of these decisions? I mean, it's crystal clear what Xbox is trying to do right now. They're trying to quickly fix their bottom line because their revenue is dipping. And I get that the job of any CEO is to reassure their shareholders and make sure that their bosses are happy. But fewer projects and fewer studios means fewer chances for success. It means that there are fewer chances to create some new breakout IP, means that Game Pass will have less differentiation, and there are less possibilities for mid-tier creative differences. And if those big franchises, for whatever reason at all, fail, they don't have a solid fallback plan. But I guess those short-term solutions are the only thing that modern executives are good for. I mean, what will happen in 5 years? That's probably somebody else's problem, right? And at the end of it all, right now the whole Western industry is holding its breath to see what Microsoft actually decides. And that's all I have for you guys so far. Let me know what you think about all those news about the hardware prices going up, about what kind of studios do you think will survive this big Xbox purge, and what are your thoughts on Resident Evil 5 and 6 not getting a remake anytime soon. And if you want to know more, as usual, all links are down below. And of course, clicking the like button helps this channel a lot, and I personally highly appreciate it. Thank you for making it this far, and with that, Alex is signing off for today. Cheers!